next up, we have Rachel Simpson. Woo! Rachel Simpson is a composer and sound designer living in Dundee with over 15 years' experience in game development. She's worked across 3 console generations, PC and mobile, and games like Guitar Hero, The Sims Social, and Lego VIDIYO. She's also a sound artist and does some amazing community sound events, done stuff at the Dundee Design Festival. Really long list of cool people that she's worked with. So yeah, Rachel, come on up to the stage. Can't wait to hear you speak. Woo! You can either hold it or just move it however you want.
Hi. I was already nervous, and then I learned I had to go after Tinderbox with a rapper. Fuck.
We totally meant that. Music and then more music. So fun.
Okay, that's me. Right, yes, I am Rachel. I am a sound artist, musician, general sound bod. This is actually my second time talking at lovely Arcadia. Back in 2018, Mal and Tom asked me along. And back then it was quite a different kind of work setup. So I worked full-time in-house at Outplay, working on all these lovely mobile, really highly polished but unashamedly commercial games. So I talked about kind of my job as a commercial sound designer, but also my life as a weirdo musician, and how I was pulled apart in these two ways, and it was kind of a weird existence. But since then, I've actually gone freelance, and back in 2020, and I've worked on some cool stuff, and I've kind of started to merge commercial stuff more with art. In fact, I've kind of moved away from commercial stuff altogether, and I've got weirder and weirder. So some of the projects I've worked on, well, the first thing I got asked to work on was Lego, so how could you not? But then the kind of interesting one that I want to speak about is this Blink and the Vacuum of Space game, which is a VR game. It came out on Steam just a couple of weeks ago. It's a game for autistic people, which was a really interesting project to work on, and it started to make me think a bit more deeply about sound and how it can be something a bit more than just something that's pretty. In commercial games, we make stuff that's very impactful, that will grab players' attentions and will sound cool. But for this, we had to really think about be empathetic to our players and their kind of different needs and things that wouldn't stress people out. I was thinking about the frequencies of sounds and all these different ways that sound could form kind of a higher purpose rather than just sounding pretty. So kind of following on from that, that kind of planted a seed of sounds with kind of a higher purpose. So back in 2021, I worked on the Dundee Design Festival, and we were looking at everyday design, including everyday sounds. So we worked on an installation for this, which looked at sounds across different everyday things like traffic lights and pedestrian crossings and cash machines. And we looked at different cities and how they might differ. And it turned out the sounds were quite different. So a siren in one place sounded really quite different to one in Australia. And we were kind of I was questioning, why is it different? Is it because of cultural or creative decisions, or is it the soundscape informing how we as sound designers create those sounds? So soundscape informing sound designs planted a big seed and kind of sparked my interest in kind of climate. So we explored that further in the Festival of the Future, which was just last year in Dundee. Myself and sound artist Sue Shaw created some installations where we went into the Botanic Gardens in Dundee, which is an amazing space. We recorded all the plants and all the wonderful things there. And we also spent a lot of time just listening to the gardeners and the botanists there, teaching us about the plants, which was amazing. And all of the stories came back to climate change and how it affected the plants, how it affected in the gardens and in the wider kind of Dundee and the rest of the world. So climate change has obviously been a massive thing for everybody, but how it affects soundscapes is something that has really become very interesting to me. So on the back of that, myself and Sue and another sound artist, Andy Truscott, have started this. It's the Dundee Sound Collective, where we are looking at climate and kind of the effect on the soundscapes and field recording. We've actually put in a bid alongside Neon Digital Arts for these community sound walks for climate change, where we want to take workshops of people in the Dundee community on sound walks, field recording excursions. We want to look at how climate change is affecting soundscapes. We want to track over time how sound for birds and other wildlife, how traffic and climate change is affecting these. So little cheeky plug, but it's actually a public vote. So if people want to get on their phones and please vote for us so we can get that. And if you're interested in coming along, it's something that I think would be really interesting, hopefully, for people here to come along and learn about some sound design and how it might inform your games as well. So in my last few seconds, little plug, this is another thing that I started up last year, the Dundee Audio Social. So similarly to your games dev night, I wanted to bring together audio people. So we meet up in Rad Apples the first Thursday of every month. So please come along. Thank you very much.